When people ask me, say, how do you make it in show business? What they want to hear is, here's how you get an agent, here's how you write a script, here's how you do this, But I always say, be so good they can't ignore you.
We make internet videos from a basement here in beautiful Lillington, North Carolina.
Facebook, I'm hooked on Facebook. This song is for all our pyrotechnical heroes, singing cornhole.
We're Rhett and Link. I'm Rhett.
I'm Link. One of my favorite types of emails to get from our audience is that email that we get a couple of months that's like, I just found out about you guys today, and I've just spent the last 6 hours watching all of your videos. And I am your biggest fan.
As opposed to, I just spent the last 90 seconds watching that video of you lip syncing to that song. And good job on that.
Facebook.
We have a little thing going on our website, Submit a Song Idea, where we would just invite our audience to submit a song idea. And someone, 3 years ago said, hey, write a song about Facebook. Yeah, we said, that's a good idea. We'll take full credit for it.
I actually had this shirt on. We really wanted to capture that person who was so into social networking that it had become their entire world, and they were so connected online that they no longer could carry out normal, real physical connections with people. Facebook song, most popular video we've ever made, up to about 1.5 million views. The only video to approach 1 million or surpass 1 million that was not in some way featured. It's just sort of had its own legs, and still gets a lot of traffic today.
There's an online world where I am king of a little website dedicated to me, with pictures of me and a list of my friends, and an unofficial record of the groups that I'm in. Before the internet, friendship was so tough. You actually had to be in people's presence and stuff. Who would have thought that with a point and a click, I would know that Hope Floats is your favorite flick? Facebook. If the internet crashed all across the land, or my Facebook account was deleted by the man, I'd carry around a picture of my face and a summary of me typed out on a page. Facebook, I'm hooked on Facebook.
We're in North Carolina, but on July 4th, we become South Carolinians. Everybody does.
Here in South Carolina, we do things different.
When it comes to fireworks, we don't hire professionals. We are professionals.
Every year, believe it or not, I am the point man for my family fireworks display. We were going to have to go down there to get the fireworks. Anyway, we're like, you know what, let's make a music video around this.
We got what you call freelance fireworks shows.
Location scouting happens moments before production.
Yeah.
And we did not anticipate that this place would have all of these signs. Like signs all the way around this place that had cheesy things to say about fireworks.
But that's exactly when we knew that we had arrived at the right location. It was like somebody has thought about this ahead of time. Like, one of these days there's going to be a music video about fireworks filmed here. We should probably set up a lot of 4x6 signs around the thing.
Yeah. So we knew that was the spot.
This song is a tribute to an elite set of men
who exercise their inalienable right to shoot off fireworks.
Bobby taught us by example not to look down a Roman candle when you light it. He lost his right eye, but he's a better looking guy without it. And that jumbo bottle rocket Don lit in his pocket would have flew if it weren't for his belt loop. We were listening to Elvis when it shattered his pelvis, but it was cool, 'cause it blew right at the end of Don't Be Cruel. This song is for all our pyrotechnical heroes. what they lacked in discretion, they made up in combustion. The ones who lit the fuse and wound up dead, injured, or lame. We salute you, the fallen founding fathers of the Freelance Fireworks Hall of Fame.
The thing about these fireworks places,
They're little buildings.
yeah, there might be, on the outside, this thing looks like a 7-story facility, and then you go in and it's like
Fireworks
It's a
mecca.
single wide trailer that somebody has put a metal building around to make some redneck think he's going to go in there and see like a 70-foot rocket, you know?
Yeah. It's like they got the 70-foot rockets propped up against the tall
They
wall.
might have a space shuttle.
You know, we get a bad rap in the South because of our accents, that we ain't too learned, we don't know too much.
I think it definitely, it's had a huge impact on who we are and the kinds of things that we find funny. We see things and we hear the way people say things around here, and that's our world, but we see the humor in it and we see how people on the outside perceive it. I think that has something to do with growing up among it, but having an opportunity, just through going off and going to college and experiencing other things to kind of be able to see it and find the humor in it, but still want to be a part of it.
We're heading to the farm.
My uncle should be there, Uncle Ross, Uncle Billy.
Popular choice of vehicle is a very large pickup truck. We'll pull in with our 600-pound Scion.
We're late, huh? I told you we were going to bring our camera this time.
You making any money, boy?
You want us to sing?
Yes, we want you to sing.
But you don't want to be on camera.
No.
Tell them how hard we work.
If I go down there, they're not asleep.
That's the best you can come up with? We're not asleep?
They're doing something. I don't have no idea what
As long
they're
as they're
doing.
drawing a paycheck, that's all.
Yeah.
Well, that's
they seem to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, but I can't tell.
You ever been on television? What about the internet?
I don't have one.
I'm a skybo, and that's a new kind of hobo for plane.
It sounds real good.
In the same way that there's lots of funny and comical things about all these pretenses that exist here in the South, all those same things are true about just this atmosphere that's created out in Hollywood, And it's like going in there and seeing everybody, concerned with coming across a certain way and the image thing. I think it's just like, it was funny.
Open up that golden gate, California,
Who are you wearing?
Plastic Man?
Rhett Link on location at the Grammys.
You know those two guys from American Idol?
They had a crew and credentials, and we had neither, so we followed them.
They didn't say anything to us, and we didn't say anything to them. The security guards didn't say anything either. At this checkpoint, this checkpoint, this checkpoint, and at this checkpoint.
And then we noticed that the color of the floor changed.
I was just covering up the fact that I wasn't nervous, because the overwhelming driving force is when that camera's there, and of course I was holding the camera, and then I would give it to Rhett and he would hold the camera. That is the audience going with you. So you're just, you're constantly performing for an audience and hoping to do something. It's like, we got to get on this red carpet, because how can we come back to North Carolina without a video of us getting on the red carpet at the Grammys? So
when it's happening, you're not thinking, oh, I'm talking to a celebrity. You're thinking, I'm making a video. So
this better be good.
Thinking, you're preoccupied with the audience. So you're like, well, I can't let it show that I don't really have any idea what I'm going to say. Because, we didn't have any idea that we were actually going to get on the red carpet. We came prepared to talk to people outside of the Staples Center, and then when we got on the red carpet, it was like, well, we better come up with some bits really quickly.
If you look at the beginning of our Grammy video, when we're out there and Rhett says we've penetrated the epidermis, we're here in front of the Staples Center, you'll see under my arm I have a rolled up red bath mat. And our idea was just to take our red bath mat and put it out on the sidewalk where normal people were walking and interview them on our red carpet. And about the time I was about to throw it down is when we saw the crew from Jimmy Kimmel, and then we just followed them. We associated ourselves with them without even asking them.
Yeah, it worked well.
We're physically on the red carpet right now.
We are sitting here taking up ABC's spot because they didn't show up, Channel 7, ABC.
I'm not exactly dressed appropriately for the Grammys. I think that I probably should be wearing something black.
We didn't even dress right, but we brought this.
That is Lionel Richie's first solo release on vinyl.
Open the record, and this is what you'll find. The most amazing pose in R&B history.
In college, we took pictures of ourselves posing like Lionel in front of Lionel posing like Lionel. And then anyone who came into our dorm room was forced to pose like Lionel. We took their picture.
We called it Project Lionel.
You think you could pull off the pose?
I can't. That is wonderful. That is a mirror image.
I love this record. I had it growing up. My boyfriend gave it to me.
You want to write a little note to him?
Who are you wearing?
Plastic Man.
Very nice. You work. Even your stupid watch works.
I'm easy like Sunday morning, yeah. See, you know it.
You're a famous owl. Who are some of your other favorite famous owls?
Famous owls?
ABC has shown up.
So we lost our spot on the red carpet to someone who was actually supposed to be there.
We didn't get to sing Endless Love with Beyonce or Dance on the Ceiling with Justin Timberlake.
But we did get our Lionel album thoroughly defaced by some semi-famous Grammy nominees.
And that's got to count for something.
Truly.
As a web comedian, you're always trying to capitalize on, you know, something that is timely and something that can kind of really go viral.
My name is Alexis Cohen. Judges, I plan to knock you on your feet. Hello.
Peace.
Don't you want somebody to love? Don't you need somebody to love?
Channeling the 70s, 60s,
I don't
70s.
think this is the route for you, sweetheart.
Well, Simon didn't like me, but he's a big, fat, bad word. I'll make it one day. One day, somehow, somewhere. And I hope that someone sees.
You typed out her speech and you brought it in here and you just started doodling on the guitar. You know?
I think that was maybe the second fastest song ever written because the lyrics were already there. I literally wrote the music to that song in less than 3 minutes. I mean, I looked at the thing and I started playing and then I started singing and Link came in here and started singing with me. And in a period less than 10 minutes, the thing was written and then the next 10 minutes, it was recorded.
On January 15th, 2008, Alexis Cohen gave one of the most beautiful exit speeches in American Idol history.
Little did she know she has written a theme for a generation.
I'll make it one day. One day, somehow, somewhere.
One day, somehow, some way.
And I hope that someone sees that I have some talent somewhere.
I have some talent somewhere.
Whether it be in acting or singing, or whether it be the fact that I have the chutzpah and the to be able to get up and talk, to be able to say what I'm thinking,
to be able to say what I'm thinking, to be able to say
what I mean, to be able to speak the heart, to be able to talk.
Speak the heart, to be able to talk, to be able to lead. I will be victorious,
always be victorious. All rising.
And then we met Alexis Cohen, and we interviewed her on the web show.
We didn't meet her in person.
We met her.
We e-met her. Yeah. She came on our live show, but we didn't know how she was going to respond, you know. But she contacted us first, or her staff contacted us because we got an email from somebody,
her boyfriend or something.
I think it might be her brother or her boyfriend, but he represents himself as her staff. And that's great, and we probably need to get somebody to do that for us. But her staff contacted us and said, we really love the song. That was all we needed to say, okay, well, we really need to pursue this. And Alexis has been a guest on the show. We hope that she'll come back.
On the finale of American Idol, they bring back memorable auditors, people who auditioned. And so we're hoping they'll bring her back. She'll perform our song, and I can sing backup, and you can play your guitar, and you could also like sing backup.
2008 for Rhett Link. The rest of the year for us is a combination of continuing to try to do our thing on the internet. We've got some potential big opportunities to do some marketing things that will hopefully help finance this whole outfit. And then we're really excited about the release of our movie, Looking for Miss Locklear, the hour-long documentary about us trying to find our first grade teacher, Miss Locklear. That's the class where we met. And so that's going to hit the Film Fest circuit, and we hope to be able to travel with it a pretty good bit.
The fallen founding fathers of the Freelance Fireworks Hall of Fame.
Let's just start at the beginning.
Okay. You're from Wilmington, North Carolina. Were you born and raised there?
Well, we're actually from right down the road. Lillington is the county seat of Harnett County, but we're from the creek, Bowie's Creek.
Right, like 10 minutes away. So
it's 5 minutes.
Rhett, you were born in, I'm telling you this as if you didn't know, in California.
No, but I was born in Macon, Georgia.
Oh, yeah, I knew that. You were born in Macon, Georgia. You moved to California, but then in first grade you moved to Bowie's Creek, North Carolina. And then that's when we met in first grade.
Yep.
I was born around these parts here in North Carolina, in a hospital.
Yeah.
Tell me about your town.
Well, Bowie's Creek is sort of a unique place because it's a small town. I think when we were growing up, less than 1,000 people, but it's a university town. There's a little college, well, little university, Campbell University.
Right, so everywhere around Bowie's Creek is just acres and acres of tobacco fields and some corn, depending on the time of year. And then right in the middle, there's this little campus.
We call it a bastion of academia.
Yeah, and so we grew up in the midst of that. And now we work 10 minutes down the road in a basement studio in Lillington, North Carolina, which is where my grandparents live. And
he's the former police chief of Lillington, North Carolina.
Right.
And is that pretty much your world where you were driving, or is that far away?
No, in the Lunch with Lincoln, the fish fry episode, we drove like 13 minutes from here, and the road eventually the road turns to dirt, and then you start to smell fish, and then you're there.
Right.
How do you think growing up in that town shaped the way you see everything in the world and your music and your comedy?
Well, I think it definitely, it's had a huge impact on who we are and the kinds of things that we find funny. We see things and we hear the way people say things around here, and that's our world, but we see the humor in it and we see how people on the outside perceive it. I think that has something to do with growing up among it or amongst it. But having an opportunity, just through going to college and experiencing other things to kind of be able to see it and find the humor in it, but still want to be a part of it.
Well, we get a bad rap in the South. There's a stereotype that we're not too learned because of our accents, that we ain't too learned. We don't know too much. And also, separate from that, there's this stereotype among Southerners that Southerners are the nicest people you ever meet to your face, but then behind your back it's a different story. And you go up north and they say, oh, well, if they don't like you, you'll know it. And in the South, you'll never know it. So those two things, I find that interesting because once we found reason to get out of the county and really start to try to get our foot in the door with the entertainment industry out in Los Angeles, like working in the industry. I'm not talking about you, Bonnie. I know you're out there in Los Angeles too. But working with people in the industry, the thing that I began to appreciate even more about growing up here in, semi-rural North Carolina is that people are genuine, and you get in an industry anywhere, and you're gonna encounter people who aren't genuine. But I think something about my upbringing just helped me see when somebody's being genuine. I don't know. Does it sound like, do you think I'm just making that up?
You mean you are a better lie detector because of your...
Because I'm Southern.
Okay.
Because Southerners are supposed to be good liars, and because we're good at telling you what you want to hear, but then we know if you're just telling us what we want to hear, or if you're being sincere.
But I think one of the negative things, as far as how it's been in our short stint in the industry, like with television, is that we are in the South. We're so anti-conflict. It's like we do not want to be in a conflict with anybody. Now we'll talk about you behind your back all day long, just like Link was saying. But the whole idea of just saying what you think and negotiating for yourself, standing up for yourself, asking for the right circumstances or whatever. That's something you have to kind of overcome as a Southerner when you're dealing with people in the industry, sort of standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
When you came to Los Angeles, and I'm sorry if I'm going to skip ahead, but this kind of goes into it, I was really struck by how not intimidated you were by these people. And I would have thought that, growing up and just seeing them on TV, that must have been so far away. I mean, I grew up 20 minutes from where TV came out of, which I think probably had some psychological impact. But still, it took me years to get over being intimidated by seeing movie stars in person. But you were able to go to the Grammys thing and nothing, no intimidation. Was that an act or was that real?
And I think it was real. And I think it has to do with... and this isn't the case with everybody around here, but when we see the typical Hollywood scene, it's like there's in the same way that there's lots of funny and comical things about all these pretenses that exist here in the South. All those same things are true about just this atmosphere that's created out in Hollywood, and it's like going in there and seeing everybody, concerned with coming across a certain way and the image thing. I think. It's just like, it was funny, going and just saying, we're just going to go in here and just confront it in a comical way. I think it was energizing. It wasn't intimidating.
I'm sorry.
I was scared.
I was scared of getting escorted out.
I was nervous, but I was nervous about getting in without the proper credentials, much more than I was nervous about speaking to someone who might be famous, like Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
Spoke to Joan Rivers. She said something about my watch. I still have on that watch. I got this watch that Joan Rivers commented on. I got this watch, no lie, in 3rd grade. And I found it just a few years ago.
You need to tighten it up a little bit.
I like it loose. I found this watch. It's a Swatch watch. And it was inanimate. But I put a new battery in there and it just started working again.
Yeah, that's typically how they work.
And Joan Rivers said it works for you.
Mm-hmm.
It works. But I'll tell you that, yes, I was just covering up the fact that I wasn't nervous, because the overwhelming driving force is when that camera's there, and of course I was holding the camera, and then I would give it to Rhett and he would hold the camera. That is the audience going with you. So you're just, you're constantly performing for an audience and hoping to do something. It's like, we got to get on this red carpet, because how can we come back to North Carolina without a video of us getting on the red carpet at the Grammys? So
when it's happening, you're not thinking, oh, I'm talking to a celebrity. You're thinking, I'm making a video. So
this better be good.
Thinking, you're preoccupied with the audience. So you're like, well, I can't let it show that I don't really have any idea what I'm going to say. Because, we didn't have any idea that we were actually going to get on the red carpet. We came prepared to talk to people outside of the Staples Center, and then when we got on the red carpet, it was like, well, we better come up with some bits really quickly.
If you look at the beginning of our Grammy video, when we're out there and Rhett says we've penetrated the epidermis, we're here in front of the Staples Center, you'll see under my arm I have a rolled up red bath mat. And our idea was just to take our red bath mat and put it out on the sidewalk where normal people were walking and interview them on our red carpet. And about the time I was about to throw it down is when we saw the crew from Jimmy Kimmel, and then we just followed them. We associated ourselves with them without even asking them.
Yeah, it worked well.
Kind of worked out.
Were you just filming them so that people thought you were just a crew filming them walking in?
No, they had equipment, and we had smaller more novice type equipment.
But yeah, there were guys with cameras and lights and stuff following them, and we had a camera, so we just filed in.
And one of them, I'll tell you, here's the key. Any of you watching this interview, if you want to sneak into somewhere, you don't need credentials. You don't need to have a good, confident look on your face. All you need is a guy with a pole with a big furry microphone on the end of it. Mm-hmm. That's all you need. And so we found that guy and we walked right behind him.
But I doubt that happened in the 2008 Grammys. In fact, what we like to think, Bonnie, is that this year at the security briefing, when they brought everybody in who was going to work security, they showed our video. And they said, boys, this is what we're not going to let happen this year.
That's what we like to think, but I don't know.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw it. And when he zoomed in on that one security guard, I thought, oh, God.
Yeah, he's
in trouble.
Heads rolled.
Well, I thought it was just absolutely amazing. Okay, back to Lillington. You guys met in first grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard about you met because you were writing profanities on your desk together or something. You want to tell about that?
I kind of have a vague memory of it. I don't really recall the words, the verbiage.
Okay.
Yeah, here's what happened, Bonnie. It was the first day of first grade, and we were both independent from each other, writing nasty words on our desks. I mean, I guess it's just instinctive for a first grade boy to do that.
I think that's basically impossible. There was some inspiration. I'm sure you saw me doing it and you copied me.
Okay, whatever. So the teacher caught us, and she held us both in from recess, and we had to color pictures, and so that's when we met.
Yeah,
became friends.
Now, how did you start singing together?
Singing together?
Singing.
We began singing. Well, actually, some of our first musical exploits were around 6th or 7th grade.
No, it was right then when we were coloring in first grade. I started humming Zippity Doo Dah, and then you hummed the harmony to that, and we said, let's form a musical group.
Yeah, that's not true.
A musical comedy group.
Bonnie, don't listen to him. About 6th grade, because of my older brother, my brother was 3 years older than me, and so that meant that he was getting in, it was the early 90s, so he was getting into gangster rap. And that's all a 6th grade boy needs to just find a whole new world and begin expanding his horizons. And so we kind of formed our own rap group at school and entered the talent show. And that was sort of the first thing we did. And then we realized that we could add a little bit of complexity to the music by actually singing.
Now, you blend together so beautifully. Is that something that's just kind of evolved, or was that something that kind of was there from the beginning?
It's the software, Bonnie.
It just happens inside of the computer.
Yeah.
It's actually just one of us singing, and then, we tell the computer to add the other person.
Yeah, it's the harmonizing plug-in for GarageBand.
We were accused of that in a video comment 2 days ago on one of our YouTube videos.
What did they say?
They said they've used the harmonizer something or other. They called it something. I didn't know what it was.
They came up with a name for it.
Yeah, we just, I don't know.
We taught ourselves harmony, And the funny thing about it is you sing pretty much all the harmonies now, but it started me singing the harmonies, and we would go back and forth. That was back when we were in a band called the Wax Paper Dogs, and Link. We started the band, the Wax Paper Dogs. We had 2 lead singers, Rhett and Link, 2 lead singers. But then we realized that if you're going to have 2 lead singers, you either need to go all the way and get 2 more and become a boy band and drop everybody else, or one of us needs to start playing an instrument. So I did that because I'm coordinated, and I started playing the guitar and started singing harmony.
I was much more interested in singing and striking a pose than singing and playing an instrument.
And Link was well known for his long soliloquies in between songs about nothing.
Yeah.
He's famous for that.
So, so then we just, I just listened to the radio, and I like to sing the harmony. when I grow up, I want to be a backup singer for Lionel Richie.
How did you start writing songs? And is one of you the songwriter, the lyricist, the music writer? How does that work?
Typically, the way it works nowadays is I'll start fiddling around on the guitar and come up with something, and then we kind of piece it together, and then we sit down, and it's almost like giving birth. The way our songwriting goes. I mean, sometimes it's like,
if two men could give birth at the same time.
Every once in a while, it's like just a very labored thing, like a woman in labor for 24 hours straight.
I see what
and then
you mean.
sometimes, sometimes the babies they pop right out. You never know what's going. When you sit down, you never know how it's going to happen. But there's a lot of back and forth typically.
We spend a lot of time on conceptualization, like what are we going to write a song about and why, and then what are we going to cover, what's going to be funny about it, and then, and sometimes that's obvious, and that happens very quickly, but then Rhett will start playing on his instrument there, and, we'll talk about the tone, but I'll be typing, so I'm typing the words to the song, and Rhett is fiddling out what it will sound like, and we're coming up with the melodies. So I'll just write a funny line, or we'll write a funny line, and then we'll sing it, and then it just kind of comes together.
Well, and to carry the baby analogy even further, it's like there's a little bit of DNA from the father, which is me, and a little bit of DNA from the mother, which is Link, and then we have this little baby. And sometimes we'll say, that looks a little bit like you. Look, he's got Link's nose. And he's got Rhett's lips.
I feel like this whole analogy is very awkward, and the implications of it are weird.
Okay.
Why don't we just say that we're both uncles to a baby song? Like
the song is our nephew and our niece.
Like we're delivering the baby, but there's still like a woman involved who's actually giving birth.
Okay, there's a woman involved in our songwriting process.
Let us think about that.
I try not to laugh while I'm sitting here thinking, and you guys are just getting dead silence. I feel like I'm not holding up my end of the conversation.
No, we're used to
I just
that.
have to be quiet.
We do a live broadcast, Bonnie, with no laughter. And Link's grandparents sit and like half asleep over here in the corner. So we're used to no response.
I can't even type asterisk at you.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then we might as well get into the videos. Making your videos, do you like storyboard them out? Do you kind of just film a bunch of stuff and then kind of make it up as you go along? How do you do that?
Everything happens at such a compressed schedule that, we very rarely take the time to storyboard anything out, but
cut as many corners as you can. I mean, it's really, with web video, it's all about, you got to get a lot of videos out there, and really we're not receiving enough for any one given video to put so much time into it that eventually there's the whole law of diminishing returns, and we really get to that point where we're like, okay, what does it take to make this a hit or something that our audience is going to like, and then we do that, and typically we try to keep ourselves from going any further.
But we sketch out some storyboards occasionally. We definitely make a shot list. I mean, we're most strategic about our full-blown music videos because, there's the potential for those to be seen by the most people. So, a lot of that you shoot for coverage. So we'll have a shot list where we're like, okay, we want a wide shot, and then we want a close-up of your character, a close-up of my character, and that'll be for this verse. But then we don't need to lip-sync the second verse. Second verse, we're going to be doing something different, or the song's going to progress, and we're going to go here. But the luxury of it, it's funny to say this is the luxury of it, but it's just the two of us. Like if you look at our Freelance Fireworks Hall of Fame song, there was nobody involved at any point in the process at all, in anything, except for the two of us. So as long as we're on the same page, we can just, as long as we communicate with each other, then it just kind of happens.
Some things would go a little bit more quickly if we had a cameraman at times. But then, things go a little bit more quickly because we don't have to tell a cameraman what to do. We just, set up the tripod or whatever. And every once in a while, I'd say less than 10% of our videos, we do get some people to help out with some shots. If there's anytime you see camera motion and both of us in the shot, unless we've gotten really creative, somebody else was involved.
Right. Other than that, chances are there wasn't anybody else involved.
Now, that might as well get me to the fireworks song, since that's one of the things I'm going to be showing about half of. that was just the two of you. Where is that place?
Which place? The
fireworks place.
The fireworks store. Well, that is in just outside of Dillon, South Carolina, which is incidentally the place where a lot of elopers go to get married from North Carolina, because the laws are more.
Yeah, you can get married at like 9 years old in South Carolina.
I think toddlers can get married in South Carolina, and
if they can make it to Dillon, they can get hitched.
Yeah, that's sort of the built-in requirement. If two toddlers can find a way to drive a car down I-95 to Dillon, then you know what? Go ahead and let them get married.
Right. So if you're in North Carolina, which I highly recommend, head south on 95. Right when you cross over the border, there'll be a huge fireworks shop there. Don't go to that one, because everybody goes to that one.
Well, that's the one with the huge facade. The thing about these fireworks places,
they're little buildings.
Yeah, there might be. On the outside, this thing looks like a 7-story facility. And then you go in, and it's like
fireworks.
It's a single wide trailer that somebody has put a metal building around to make some redneck think he's going to go in there and see like a 70-foot rocket. You know?
Yeah. It's like they got the 70-foot rockets propped up against the tall wall.
They might have a space shuttle in there.
So you keep going down 95 until you go about 10 more miles actually, and you'll get to civilization as far as South Carolina is concerned.
Jabs Fireworks, and that's where you need to go because the prices are better. I assume the same ladies still work there.
Right. So we went down there, and we shot it as we went, and we got permission as we went, and sat down in front of the place and shot it. And we didn't know, there's no location scouting happens moments before production.
Yeah.
And we did not anticipate that this place would have all of these signs all the way around this place that had cheesy things to say about fireworks.
But that's exactly when we knew that we had arrived at the right location. It was like somebody has thought about this ahead of time. Like, one of these days there's going to be a music video about fireworks filmed here. We should probably set up a lot of 4x6 signs around the thing.
Yeah. So we knew that was the spot. And then, of course, for the second half of the video, when we're in the dark shooting off the fireworks, that's back here in Lillington, just outside of Lillington in the woods.
Did you do anything stupid?
Not any more stupid than what you actually see,
I did put some sort of, I think they call it a fountain.
A fountain.
That shoots out sparks. There's a little bit of thrusting power in it, and I put that in my belt loop, and I ran around with it. I was scared. I got to admit, I was scared that maybe there would be a report, is what they say on the outside of the fireworks, and that would be an explosion.
Yeah, but a report is an explosion.
Yeah, there were no explosions or reports.
Just a bunch of
what was the inspiration for that song? So it was a song first, obviously, right?
Yeah, we of course. Well, we hope to get featured on a homepage of a popular video sharing website, which shall remain nameless. And, you increase your likelihood if you do something really high quality around a holiday. So we said, well, maybe we can do something with July 4th. So that was part of the inspiration. Second part was, of course, your family and your in-laws and what you guys do.
Well, yeah, I had to go down. I was going to have to go down to South Carolina. Every year, believe it or not, I am the point man for my family fireworks display. And my father-in-law gives me like a $400 or $500 budget and sends me down to South Carolina, and then I actually engineer a fireworks display. I run all the fuses together. I'm a redneck,
$400 or $500.
Yeah, we're in North Carolina, but on July 4th we become South Carolinians. Everybody does. And so I set this thing up, and the interesting thing was we were going to have to go down there to get the fireworks. Anyway, we're like, you know what? Let's make a music video around this. But incidentally, we released the music video in late June, right, leading up to July 4th. But on July 4th, during the fireworks display that I was in charge of, the field where our trailer was caught on fire, and the neighbor had to run out there with a fire extinguisher and douse the whole thing. It's like I was thinking about the fact that our video was somewhere playing on YouTube, and I was about to injure myself, and it would have been like some prophetic fulfillment, but it wasn't. He had a fire extinguisher.
Self-fulfilling prophecy is what they call it.
What did I call it?
I don't know.
Prophetic fulfillment?
Prophetic fulfillment.
I like mine better.
Your music, how do you record it? It doesn't sound like you're just sitting in front of a USB microphone with your guitar. It sounds like you have a recording studio and a band or something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have a band. They're right off camera.
Boys,
hey, fellas.
hang tight.
Yeah, we'll be taking you out to dinner in a little bit. We'll
Save me a Marlboro.
Take it easy. No, don't sit there. That one's broken.
It actually, you know what? It really is a pretty simple setup. It's this microphone that you're seeing on the video screen right now, which is a GT55. This is a pretty high-priced microphone. I think that's the first point in the chain that has to sort of be taken care of, right?
By high price, you mean what, $250?
Well, this thing costs close to $500 retail. We got it on eBay for $175. That was the most expensive purchase in the whole musical setup. And then this thing goes to just a little M Audio $150 USB interface that goes right into the computer. And we actually had a higher price software that we were using to record our music other than GarageBand. But then it was just like we were wasting all this time figuring out how to use it. And we were like, you know what?
We went back.
We just went back to GarageBand because it's amazing what you can do with that simple free program. So,
but here's
just
GarageBand. Do you want to know the secret to our recording production? Here's the secret to our recording production. We have a room over there with the desk and the computer, and we have a remote recording booth, which is actually an abandoned women's restroom on the other side of the wall. So there's a cinder block wall, and then there's an old women's restroom that the toilet has been removed, everything's been removed, and we took carpet and put it over every wall, the ceiling and the floor and the door, and there happened to be a pipe, a piece of conduit that electrical wiring came through, and we ran the XLR cable through there.
Yeah, again, it was like destiny. You know, there was a bathroom. Everybody sounds great in a bathroom. There was an old roll of carpet that we were able to cut up and just put on the wall, and there was a pipe that we could put our wires through.
Yeah.
It was destiny that we would be recording, putting on the hits in this Lillington studio. Remember putting on the hits?
All the drums and everything, and that's all GarageBand?
Yes. The realism in some of those instruments, and you know, we have a little MIDI keyboard that we do like bass lines and stuff like that for. It all sounds pretty real, though. I'm glad you're convinced of it, at least.
Okay, Facebook song. You did that for a contest for Facebook?
No, we did not. We have a little thing going on our website. We used to push it a lot more than we do now. Submit a song idea, where we would just invite our audience to submit a song idea. And someone, 3 years ago said, hey, write a song about Facebook. I think his name was...
3 years ago?
Brandon? It's been at least 2 years ago.
I think your time is off. Maybe 2 years ago, maybe.
Maybe a few months ago. But we said... that's a good idea. We'll take full credit for it.
And again, that was a very low budget production. The video portion was filmed in a day, and I actually had this shirt on, and I didn't even know that this was going to happen. Again, there's some more destiny happening here today. I've got on the shirt from the Facebook song, and
you need to put the beard on.
I'm not going to do that. A lot of people think that was real, but it wasn't. It was a glue-on fake beard. But the Facebook song, most popular video we've ever made, up to about 1.5 million views. The only video to approach 1 million or surpass 1 million that was not in some way featured. It's just sort of had its own legs, and still gets a lot of traffic today.
Yeah, we're still riding the wave. Every few months, CNN does a story on Facebook, and we get an email that they keep cutting back to our video back there, like in the midst of.
Well, they use it as a soundtrack.
It's a soundtrack to every CNN story on Facebook. And, that's...
Seriously?
Yeah, and we've never gotten a phone call, Bonnie.
Shouldn't I pay you for, putting your stuff on their TV?
No, the press, they don't do that. They just, it's all it's all fair use kind of stuff for the press.
Oh.
At least that's what they told us.
Yeah.
Who came up with the brilliant idea of
me?
The big gag? The holding the papers outside.
We both accept full responsibility for all of our actions.
Well, to be completely honest with you, no, really, it is interesting because a lot of times we try to retrace, even though it's kind of pointless, we try to retrace the origin of some of the ideas of the songs and that kind of thing and different gags. But it's interesting because even if one of us comes up with like this little seed of an idea, usually if it ends up being something that we're going to do, it's something that we instantly start contributing to together. And I think that has to do with this whole knowing each other forever. And there's a lot of things that happen that are not said. I think maybe
some things are better left unsaid.
Just, you mean telepathized?
No, just for the sake of friendship and creativity. But yeah, no good idea is one person's.
Okay.
I think that's how we operate. But I don't know how we came up with the,
well, it was a song lyric. It was like, okay, what would you do if you no longer had Facebook? Because we really wanted to capture that person who was so into social networking that it had become their entire world, and they were so connected online that they no longer could carry out normal, real physical connections with people. And so what are you going to do? Well, if my Facebook crashes, I'm going to have this little summary of myself, just like I have on Facebook, and I guess I'll just walk around with it.
And the funny thing is, we no longer have those props because, of course, at the end of the Facebook...
We were blackmailed out of them.
We were blackmailed. At the end of the Facebook song, you can see it online, it says, brighten our day by befriending us on Facebook. And, of course, we had Facebook accounts using the names of the characters we played. Same first name as us, but different last names.
It's tricky.
And it's very tricky. But what happened? Facebook found out that they weren't our real names.
And they deleted the accounts.
They deleted the accounts. So I got them to reinstate my Link Lamont account, but you started your own Rhett McLaughlin Facebook account. And we started getting Facebook friend requests through that. And now we're both basically almost to the limit. But then we discovered that someone had created new Facebook accounts using our characters' names, and they were being inundated with friend requests, thinking that it was us. And we contacted this guy.
And it was just a guy over in England, and I sent him, I was like, okay, how am I going to handle this? We've got a guy who's representing himself as Rhett Smalls and Link Lamont, who is not them, and we had to offer him props from the video.
Paraphernalia. So we gave him signed copies of those two props that we held up, the picture and the profile.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have those. That dude in England has them.
But now we own the Rhett Smalls and Link Lamont accounts. So now we actually have the
Control
real Rhett and Link accounts and the fake ones. And Facebook hasn't shut them down yet.
Hey, American Idol. What? Obviously, I know you're inspired. Did you watch it and like that instant she was saying it? Did it come to you, or what? What was the story there?
Well, that was another thing about, as a web comedian, you're always trying to capitalize on, something that is timely and something that can kind of really go viral. I mean, we're not going to lie. It's not, it's not just pure art. It isn't just, hey, what is going to make us laugh? But sometimes it's like, what is going to really get people energized and make a statement and get people behind something? And I don't remember exactly how it happened, but I just remember coming in here and thinking,
you typed out her speech and you brought it in here and you just started doodling on the guitar.
I think that was maybe the second fastest song ever written because the lyrics were already there. I literally wrote the music to that song in less than 3 minutes. I mean, I looked at the thing and I started playing and then I started singing and Link came in here and started singing with me. And in a period less than 10 minutes, the thing was written, and then the next 10 minutes it was recorded.
I don't know. It evolved into some Pink Floyd-ish, British kind of accent thing, and it just kind of happened. There was no decision to do that. It was like you were playing you're playing the rhythm, and then the melody kind of dictated the Britishness of it.
Yeah, well, and it was just like it was like as if the song was our baby. The baby just popped right out of the birth canal, and then
the baby said, "Please put a dance beat underneath me."
Yeah, right.
And wrap me in swaddling hi-hat rhythms. And so that's what we did, and we named her Alexis.
And then you talked to her on your web show.
And then we met Alexis Cohen, and we interviewed her on the web show.
We didn't meet her in person. We
met her.
We met her.
Yeah.
She came on our live show, but we didn't know how she was going to respond, but we actually, she contacted us first, or her staff contacted us, because we got an email from somebody.
Her boyfriend or something.
I think it might be her brother or her boyfriend, but he represents himself as her staff, and that's great. And we probably need to get somebody to do that for us. We need a staff, somebody posing as our staff. But she said
you could name your new dog Staff, and then you could say, "I've got staff."
That sounds like I have an infection, though.
Yeah, I know.
But her staff contacted us and said, we really love the song, and that was our, that was all we needed to say, okay, well, we really need to pursue this, and Alexis has been a guest on the show. We hope that she'll come back.
And we're hoping that on the finale of American Idol, we can get her to perform the song. Because, on the finale of American Idol, they bring back memorable auditors, people who auditioned. And so we're hoping they'll bring her back. She'll perform our song, and, I can sing backup. And you can play your guitar, and you could also, sing backup.
Well, and that video was, sure, it's approaching 100,000 views, and this happens with a lot of our videos. We make them, and then we're like, okay, this one has all the ingredients needed for virility. And then a month later, here we are, and it's only got 100,000 views. I think if the thing had gotten to the million view mark and it really had taken off online,
right?
Then it would be, people would be seriously considering, hey, this thing's an internet phenomenon. Let's get these guys and Alexis to do something. But I think at this point it's like, only 90,000 people saw it. Probably not going to happen.
Yeah. What does make something become like the skateboarding dog? It's usually the stupidest things that are the most watched. So how does that even happen? Do you even know?
Yeah, that's the thing about it. Internet web video is so unpredictable. You just can't anticipate. And so we just we're proud of the fact that we put out videos every week, and that we feel like we're still growing, and it's all quality stuff. Because if you aspire to create that one thing that's just going to take off, and we admit that we fall into that trap a lot. We try to do that, but if that's what you're trying to do, you're going to fail. So really, what we're trying to do is develop as artists and to be funny consistently.
A collection. We're not trying to sell some video. So some one video that just happens to just take off. We want people to enjoy the Rhett and Link experience. All 140 whatever videos that are on YouTube, and the songs, and the live show, and the movie that we've got coming out. The documentary that's going to be on the Film Fest circuit. We're trying to have a lot of things to offer from the Rhett and Link brand, and to be more than just, hey, I'm the guy who danced in a funny way in front of a video camera, and all of a sudden, millions of people know who I am.
I'll tell you, one of my favorite types of emails to get from our audience is that email that we get a couple of months that's like, I just found out about you guys today, and I've just spent the last 6 hours watching all of your videos. I am your biggest fan.
As opposed to, I just spent the last 90 seconds watching that video of you lip syncing to that song, and good job on that.
Yeah. Or I just spent 90 minutes of my life wasted. How do they say that? They say they'll comment on your video and say, however how long, insert length of video here, wasted.
Or I wish I could get 2 minutes and 41 seconds of my life back. Yeah. That's the most common YouTube comment.
Well,
we love those.
That's one of the most common.
Yeah.
Do those still hurt?
Do they hurt?
Yeah.
For if you get 20 positive comments and there's that one negative comment, it's just, that's the great thing about the internet. You've got that instant feedback. We can see it unfold underneath the video. And we get over it. And a lot of times we just put a little smart comment back. We don't get into the argument, but we kind of just do something that's lighthearted. But you want your stuff to be well received, and you would like to have every comment be positive.
Well, and because it's so attached to us, it's like you say, I've heard it said that whenever you have an idea, say in a brainstorming session, you don't want to hold it right here. You want to hold it out here, so when people fire at it, they're not hitting you. They're just hitting the idea. But whenever we create something...
But that doesn't even make sense, because how could that even happen?
Well, it happens all the time, right?
But I mean, you can't even hold an idea.
So, as I was saying, with us, we're so attached to everything we create because it's not just about, it's not just about the song, but it's about us singing the song. And by design, we try to inject ourselves into everything we do. So then, when we receive criticism or, an unthoughtful remark, that it's hard not to take it personal because what we've created is tied to us.
But even beyond that, I mean, a negative comment can poison everybody's perception. And one of the things that we're beginning to do is we're trying to do more and more paid video projects, which means we're going to do more and more branded video. If we can find a way to incorporate some sort of sponsorship or branding into a video in order to get paid to do it and still maintain the integrity of the initial creation, then we're going to do it. But it doesn't matter how well it's done or how appropriate the branding is. You're going to get the sellout. I remember when YouTube used to be pure. You're going to get those comments,
I remember when YouTube used to be pure too. I loved it back
What
then.
happened, man? And then, so what you have to do if you want to survive in this business is you've got to go in there and you've got to respond to those comments and you've got to shape people's perception of what if you want us to continue to make web video, if you want people like us who are trying to do web video full time to continue to do it, well, you got to expect us to make some money doing it.
Oh no, okay, you're getting worked up. Just take a moment.
I'm okay.
Okay.
Who do you find are your fan base, or is it kind of all over the place? You don't seem like you're geared towards kids, but you've got all these kid fans.
No, our fan base, if you watch a web show or if you start to read our comments, you'll get the first impression that our fan base is the vast majority kids, like middle schoolers type stuff. But that's not really the case. I mean, we kind of target the college age or a little bit older, our age, and then we kind of branch out. Because we're family friendly, we get parents who allow their kids, no matter what their age is, to watch our stuff. And so we get parents and kids. So we really, our audience base is really wide.
And kids are the ones who are more vocal. They're the ones who comment more. They've grown up. They've grown up in this world of the internet, and so they participate in a way that's more noticeable than somebody who's 40 who might be a fan.
Right, they're used to texting.
Well, the thing that I notice is that, at least around here, it's like when we go to a public place and we have a family come up and say, like, "Oh, you're Rhett from Rhett Link," it's like the dad and the mom will be talking about a video, and then the kids will be talking about a video. It's like they're both fans, but the ones that are sitting there emailing us or sending the contact message is going to be the kid every time,
Yeah.
So I think the audience is a little bit wider than we might think, or at least as you see on the internet.
My next question was, have you ever been recognized by a stranger on the street? And you said that apparently you have. How does that feel? Somebody seeing you as a celebrity?
Well, it's interesting because it's really only happened locally. It happened one time during our trip to LA, and we thought that the producers of the show that we were with were punking us basically, because a girl came up to us in a Mexican restaurant. She was like, "You're Rhett Link," and we looked around. And we were like, "Okay, who got this girl to come up here?" But that was an authentic public spotting. But it happens fairly often around here, but. I don't know. It's like a lot of times you think it happens, and then you need to sort of say, okay, you're Rhett Link, so now I'm expecting you to do something funny now that I'm seeing you in a public place with your family, and that typically doesn't happen.
Now, just based on that little bit, have you really thought about if you want to be hugely famous, and have your wives thought about if they want you to be hugely famous?
We've always been driven, to engage an audience. When you say you want to be famous, to me it has this. It seems dangerous and it seems prideful, and I'm not comfortable saying that I want to be famous. I'm wired to want to engage an audience, to create something that resonates with them. If that means and I like to be there for it. That's why I love the live streaming web medium, because you can't hear the reaction, but you can see the reaction in the chat room, and it's got that live feel to it. And I think that's what we're passionate about is creating something that resonates with people, that makes them laugh, that, you know, and so having somebody recognize us, to me, really is just validation that, hey, that connected with me.
Like it's working. What we're doing is working. And so that's the end. The end goal is to create, have the freedom to create even more and connect. Well, we always talk about it. Like people are like, what is your goal with all this? And the thing that I always throw out there is creative freedom. And a lot of times I say creative and financial freedom, because a lot of times with creative freedom, there needs to be some sort of financial freedom, meaning that we would like to get to a point where we're not trying to look for the next paid project, but we've got enough stuff under our belts that sort of is creating, you know, some streams of revenue, and we can think, okay, this month or this year, like, what do we want the big Rhett Link project to be this year? Do we want to try to film another documentary? Do we want to do some internet-based thing? Do we want to make an album? Because that is what we're after, is that ability to create things. And you know what? If nobody knows about it, then that probably means it's not real good, and you're not really being successful at it. Right. So it's not like fame and recognition is a goal, but I think that at least on some level, in the internet world, it's a pretty small level. To be considered web famous really doesn't mean much. There's a few thousand people who know about you. But I would say it's more about the creative freedom.
Right. We don't need to be well received as people, but we want our work to be well received.
One thing I noticed is that your accents seem to get stronger when you're around your family. Do you? But you don't really seem to have. You have an accent, but not that much. Are young people in general kind of losing that accent? Do your grandparents have thicker accents than you guys do, or are you doing that on purpose?
Yeah, by generation around here, I think, you know, there are definitely people who are 20 years old, 30 years old, 15 years old around here who have a very, very thick accent. And I think for us, it's like when you're trying to communicate and connect with so many people from so many places, it's almost like it just kind of ends up, you kind of move towards more of just a, we definitely still have an accent. With some people, they still think we sound just like Hicks. But I think it's just, you hear yourself speak in so many different settings, and eventually you just kind of arrive at something that's a little bit more middle of the road. But then you go back and you hang out with the family, and it's like a dial comes on, the country dial. And you turn that country dial up, because when you put a little bit of that accent on, you know, you connect. You connect a little bit better. You know, you don't seem like you boys went off to Hollywood, and we don't even recognize you anymore. You got some sort of product in your hair, and y'all dress funny. And Link's got those glasses that look like a woman ought to be wearing them.
Them glasses is awfully thick, and I'm not talking about the lens either.
And you can kind of stave that off a little bit if you turn the country dial up a little bit. You know?
But it's all subliminal, because we look back at, you know, footage from our documentary.
Yeah,
we go deep rural, so it's like it really comes out, and we kind of, you know, we're like, oh no, how are people going to receive this? But it's not calculated. It's just it's a technique to connect, and I think it just happens subliminally.
Yeah, it definitely happens just naturally.
Do you guys have a schedule? How do you work?
Well, we're each married, each to a woman, a separate woman, and we've got children running around our homes.
Yeah. Farmhands, we call them.
There's no working at our homes with children running around.
And we have the blessing of having this basement to come to. This is not the basement of a home. This is the basement of a business. And so this is where we come every day. And we have a pretty packed, I mean, we have to get in here no later than 8 o'clock. And then typically we stay till 6.
And then on Thursdays we stay until like midnight. And we do our show. And
we constantly kind of talk to each other about we kind of need to be working more with all the stuff that we're trying to do, but we can't really let ourselves because of our family. And
we're family men.
Wouldn't be fair to them. So, yeah.
It wouldn't be fair to them. There's family.
There are no days off. There is a whole lot less vacation with this job than there probably would be if we were working for somebody else. We really don't let ourselves get away.
You know, we used to be engineers. I worked for IBM. I was an industrial engineer for almost 2 years, and Rhett was a bridge builder.
a civil engineer.
But you didn't even work with bridges.
No, I worked with drains and water pipes.
It sounds terribly exciting.
Oh, it was so exciting. It was a lot better than web video.
Yeah, this is so lame compared to conveyor belts and computer parts.
And rocks.
What plans do you have for the future?
Yeah, 2008 for Rhett Link.
Interviews.
The rest of the year for us is a combination of continuing to try to do our thing on the internet. We've got some potential big opportunities to do some marketing things that will hopefully help finance this whole outfit. And then we're really excited about the release of our movie, Looking for Miss Locklear, the hour-long documentary about us trying to find our first grade teacher, Miss Locklear. That's the class where we met. And so that's going to hit the Film Fest circuit, and we hope to be able to travel with it a pretty good bit.
Okay, well, I guess you can stop tape. And
thanks, Bonnie.
Thank you so much.
You are.
I'll make it one day, somehow, some way. And I hope that someone sees that I have some talent somewhere. Whether it be in acting or singing, or whether it be the fact that I have the chutzpah and the to be able to get up and talk. To be able to say what I'm thinking, to be able to say what I mean, to be able to speak the heart, to be able to talk, to be able to lead. I will be victorious. Always be victorious. All rising.
I'll make it one day, somehow, some way. And I hope that someone sees that I have some talent somewhere, whether it be in acting or singing, or whether it be the fact that I have the chutzpah and to be able to get up and talk, to be able to say what